Hello everyone, Reactor Labs here, and today I will be finding radioactive items at this local antique store, Antiques on Manal. If you guys are ever in Albuquerque, I would absolutely recommend checking this place out because you always find radioactive items. Alright, let's get straight into it. Hello, how are you doing? Absolutely beautiful spot. Now, what I usually like to do when I'm looking for these items is I usually like to walk around the store. Not really scan everything, but just once you start learning about the certain items, you start knowing what they look like. So, this I know might be radioactive, but it's likely that it's not because the color is not quite right. It looks newer. And this guy doesn't notice anything, so now if I switch over to a beta sensitive Geiger counter, it might. We'll see if my hunch was correct. And as you can see, it does not set off the Geiger counter, meaning that it is not radioactive fiestaware. So, this is a case full of uranium glass. Now, this was glass that was produced usually around before 1945, before the bans of uranium in dishware because of the Manhattan Project. But as you can see, it is very, very beautiful. Very cool. I don't really measure anything through the glass. Actually, no. A little bit. Yeah, okay. So the Beta Geiger S2L is sensitive enough to pick up on the slight gamma radiation that these give off through the glass, which is pretty impressive. This looks cool. Not uranium, but beautiful. Maybe this is uranium glass? Possibly. Or where the uranium could be. Very nice design. I guess I'll set it down right here for a minute. And it appears that is not uranium glass, so I guess I was incorrect. Just another cool looking antique glassware. But not what I'm here for. Everything back very carefully as I found it. As you can see, this one here is radioactive because they use uranium in the glaze. It does in fact notice it. Looks like it could be radioactive there. There, nothing there. Looks like there's some World War II items and whatnot, but I don't see any uranium paint. So here I found these two items. First off, there is a radium clock. So the dial and the watch hands are painted with radium and phosphor. So essentially they did that so that the watch would glow in the dark. The radium would accept the phosphor and then it would release visible light. So here you can see Beta Geiger S2L is quite happy about this one. I mute that for a second. Off of this, we're getting about 1 microsievert per hour, roughly. And then the Geiger counter responds to it, but only a tiny, tiny bit. So this one is far more sensitive for something like this. But for this black uranium glaze right here, you can see this one, because it's more beta sensitive, responds to this one a little bit better. Whereas this one definitely does respond a little bit, but not nearly as much as the traditional Geiger counter. So this is why I recommend you guys have both a scintillator and a Geiger counter when you're looking for things, because they both have their strengths and their weaknesses, and you can combine the two to find so much stuff. That looks like that could be radioactive. Very possibly. It's the right color. Ooh! Fiestaware. Yep. It's in fact radioactive. Geiger S2L, so now with my GMC 500 Plus, which is more data sensitive. Nope, I know what the blues. Oh, interesting. None of the cream colored dishware is radioactive. That's a little unexpected. Yeah, I would have expected that to be radioactive for sure. Oh, it might be actually. No. It's only the orange. That's a little surprising. Ooh. That's a CDV 717, it appears. Oh, 715. That's a very old one right there. Wow, I expect there to be a Geiger counter. Ion chamber, my bad. So here, this is a CDV 715. This one doesn't have the date on it, but it does look to be one of the older models. This type of instrument is more for higher levels of radiation, so it won't detect anything like fiestaware over there. But it is very cool nonetheless. So, these are all of the electronics. Too far. Can't really read anything from it. That's the wire right here. Looks like one of the employees actually pointed out that there is a fair amount of uranium glass in here, which is pretty cool. I can slightly detect it through the glass, but not a lot. So, I'm back from the antique store and I bought this fiestaware dish, as you can see. So, let's see how radioactive this dish is. I have my scintillator right here, the Better Geiger S2L. As you can see and hear, it's detecting background radiation right now. And if I put the bowl up next to it, as you can see, it gets about 8,500 counts per minute. Let's use the radio code next. About 5,500 counts per minute off of the radio code, if you guys can see that. One of the things that I like about this is actually the first radioactive bowl that I own, so that's cool. But also, it is my first piece of fiestaware. It's actually fiestaware, not Bauer California pottery, which is all of the other stuff that I have in my collection. Give you guys a close-up of that. It is, in fact, fiestaware. Very beautiful bowl. Next up, I have the Better Geiger S2 to give me a good dose rate reading. So I'm seeing readings of anywhere between 0.1 to 0.3 microsieverts per hour. So not a whole lot of dose rate off of this bowl. That's because the radiation this bowl gives off is extremely weak. It's not very strong. So next up I have a more traditional Geiger counter. This has a Geiger Miller tube through there. If you can see the electrical tape marking that I put there just to show where the Geiger Miller tube is, but if I put this inside of the bowl, about 1,800 counts per minute. And then, last but not least of the Geiger counters that I will be measuring this with is the GMC 500 Plus, which is a pretty good device. Very sensitive to a lot of the weaker beta radiation that these bowls give off. 5,000, maybe 5,500 counts per minute. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'll have links in the description for the Better Geiger S2 and S2L if you want to pick one up for yourself. They're really awesome detectors, as you saw. I'll also have a link for some fiestaware check sources that I'm selling on Etsy if that interests you guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.